Good afternoon and welcome to Baturdays in the BatCave on OmniDog's Vault. I'm OmniDog, joined as always with my co-host Taylor Brown. Taylor, how's it going?
I'm doing really well. I feel like a brand new man. I finally have a haircut after 3.5 months of going without it. I was starting to look like a hippie. I was telling Jess before the show started, I used to have hair down to my shoulders. So it was the longest it had been since I was like 16 or 17 years old. So
wow. Yeah, we both got haircuts within the past week, and I'm not going to, load up with a rifle and march on my state capitol demanding to be let have a haircut, but it did feel good to get my haircut, but I wasn't going to demand it like it's one of my constitutional rights or something.
And people kept saying, why don't you just have your wife cut your hair? I trust my wife with a lot of different things. I don't live up my haircut. I've cut her hair before, so why would I trust her to do it? I wouldn't cut her hair either.
No. Oh my gosh, no. I can't imagine trying to cut my wife's hair.
That'd be a terrible experience.
No.
With you being the stay-at-home dad, I guess you're probably used to doing girls' hair to some extent, right? Doing your daughter's hair.
Styling, yeah, but not cutting.
It's also a little girl's hair compared to a adult woman's a little bit different.
Yeah, you can live with the mistakes you make on a little girl's
hair. That's very true.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times this is a pre-recorded video. A lot of times whenever it's pre-recorded, people are saying in the comments, "Oh, I missed the live show." So don't worry, you didn't miss the live show. So I think Jess is going to premiere this, so you can still chat in the side if you want to and talk to each other.
Okay. I didn't know that the chat was enabled, but if it is, great.
And if it's not, oh well, just watch and enjoy.
Just leave your comments and we'll respond.
Yeah, Jess just does the premiere thing so we can actually get notifications.
Yeah, we finally figured it out that I just have to schedule it for the next day or sometime in the future, and we're actually going to get people notified. I have a couple of reviews in that Mark Waid interview that are criminally underwatched, and I think it's because people didn't get notified.
That Mark Waid interview, I think, is getting pretty close to 1,000, but he should have more than 1,000 now.
I think so.
So I think it just didn't get out at the right time. And if you haven't watched that and you're watching this video, after you're done watching our Baturdays in the BatCave, go and watch that Mark Waid interview. It was very insightful.
Yeah.
Very interesting. He's a great guy who said he wants to come back someday. So we'll definitely try to take him up on that offer.
So did Greg Rucka.
That's true. Yes. I hope to get both of them back. And we have some other exciting interviews hopefully coming up in the next couple months.
That'd be good.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah. And we have some other possibilities coming up.
That's true.
But we don't want to jinx them.
Nope. Not at all.
Right.
But today we're doing some reviews, right, Jess?
Yes, we're reviewing 3 books. And even though this is Baturdays in the BatCave, it's turning into more like DC books in the BatCave because we review Superman Up in the Sky by Tom King and art by Andy Kubert. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much just doing what we want and hoping that you enjoy it.
I did the same thing with Crime Corner. I just put Fury Max in there because I wanted to read it and justify it. No one's complained so far, so.
Yeah, and we helped sell that book out of Amazon.
That felt really good. Do you see how many people on the group today posted their picture of Fury Max?
Yeah.
There were 2 or 3 people who got their copy in today. Feels pretty
awesome.
Now I know how you feel with Mark Waid and Irredeemable, and then Six Gun, which you've helped to sell a lot of copies. I know you don't like saying. I know you like taking sole credit. You're a credit, though.
I'll take a credit. I highly doubt I'm the credit, but I'll take some credit. We are also doing Batman Detective Comics, Volume 3, Greetings from Gotham. You can see cover has Joker on.
Your favorite villain shows up again.
What's that?
Your favorite villain shows up again.
I was just about to say something like, "Oh, good, the Joker." Ugh.
My surprise.
And this, I've got this on my iPad, so let me pull it up real quick. I will say that this is Batman Superman. Who are the Secret Six? And that's a very interesting title that first of all, I had no idea it had to do something with Batman Who Laughs. So I totally wrote this book off and wasn't interested in it, and you suggested it for the segment, and so I've got it on Hoopla. And who are the Secret Six? I thought, I don't care who the Secret Six are. But then I found out it has to do with Batman Who Laughs and the Dark Multiverse. And it's really interesting who the Secret Six are. So I'm going to buy this book, and we'll get into, when we review it, we'll get into why I'm going to buy it.
Let's just dive into that book first then, since you already have it up and you're talking about it. I also have it on Hoopla, so I don't have a physical copy. Do you want to try to read? I know it's hard to show off art on the iPad, but do you want to try to show off some art, and I'll read the back?
Yeah, just a sec. Let me get some art. First of all, let me just say the art is fantastic in this book. I'm not familiar with this artist.
David Marquez. He worked a lot with Brian Michael Bendis over at Marvel.
Oh, okay.
He did work on, I think, on Miles Morales, and he also did the Defenders with Brian Michael Bendis. So he came over to DC.
Okay, 2 titles I'm not familiar with, but this is a style that I absolutely love. I mean, I love this.
All right, do you want to read the back? Will you show off some art?
Yeah.
All right. Batman, Superman. Alone, they're 2 of the world's finest superheroes. Together, they're almost unstoppable. Until the Batman Who Laughs. Combining Bruce Wayne's intelligence with the Joker's madness and the Dark Multiverse's malevolent power, this warped version of the Caped Crusader has infected 6 heroes with his evil. Unless they are discovered and stopped, they will remake the whole world in their master's twisted image. Now the search for the Secret Six is on. As the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel race to uncover the identities of the Batman Who Laughs chosen ones, but they'd better beware. The infected includes some of the Earth's most powerful beings and some of Batman and Superman's closest friends. Can Batman and Superman stop the infected from spreading their sickness and destroying our world, or will the Batman Who Laughs get the last laugh? So before we get into details about this actual story, I think it's very important to highlight that this is not a new reader-friendly book at all.
No.
If you jump into this without having read Metal, then you're going to be so confused.
Right.
I would say you definitely need to have read all of Scott Snyder's Batman run. You need to have read Metal, that entire event, and the Batman Who Laughs miniseries by Scott Snyder and Jock. Otherwise, this is going to seem like nonsense to you, to be honest.
Totally.
And I think even reading some of the Justice League Deluxe Edition by Scott Snyder would be helpful too. So before we jump into this actual book, I want to give that warning. I don't want anyone
warning to give.
Yes.
Very, very much not new reader friendly. With new reader unfriendly.
And I totally agree with Jess. I think the best part of this book is the art. The art is unbelievably good.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I wasn't familiar with this artist, but I you know who he reminds me of is Tom King's Batman artist. Who's the artist we like so much?
Clay Mann?
No.
Mel Yanin?
Yeah.
Okay.
This art is just fantastic. And of the 3 books, I will say this was my favorite. I want to own this because I want to go back to it and reread it. But it's because I have read all those books that you said before, not only Snyder's. That's a big thing that you have to know, at least up through Super Heavy, Volume 8. So you need to have at least that read through Snyder's Batman New 52 run. And as you said, all those Dark Metalverse things, you've got to know those. And it made complete sense to me. And this was a really good take on the Dark Metal universe or Dark Metal multiverse because it all made sense to me. I had read all of the stuff. And I think this is one of my, so far, this is my favorite take, not written by Scott Snyder. This is my favorite take on the Dark Multiverse. I found this extremely interesting, really well thought out. Now I understand why it was called Who Are the Secret Six, because they had to figure out who the 6 were that were infected by the Batman Who Laughs. Who's being kept a prisoner, and it has to do with the lies that Superman and Batman are keeping from everyone and from each other. It has to do with trust between the two friends and the trust between them and the rest of the Justice League members. So a lot of it, trust, friendship, secrecy, lies. It's more than just about the dark multiverse. It's a lot of human nature and kind of the core of what the heroes are about. And they have to be willing to go a little further to defeat. They're going to have to, because this looks like it's going to continue for a while.
Right.
They're going to have to go further than they're comfortable with in defeating the Batman Who Laughs, because the Batman Who Laughs and those he infect have no problem taking life. And it's going to be difficult for them. I mean, obviously they're not going to take life, but they have to play a lot rougher and harder with the people who have been infected and with the Batman Who Laughs. And I just found it really, it was my favorite. I found it really compelling. I don't know. I just really got excited about it. And I was glad that it was 6 issues. So I'm looking forward to the next book. I don't know if it's hardcover or softcover that it's out in, but whatever it is, I'm going to put it on my wish list.
It's hardcover.
Okay, good. Probably standard hardcover. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of DC's MO right now. But we are getting Tom King's 5th Deluxe this summer, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah, that's true too. And this summer is like next month. So
yeah, it's supposed to come out. It's hard to know with all the different dates. I think it'll come out in July or August. I agree with you that the central question of this book is, how far are you willing to go to defeat true evil? How deep into the darkness are you going to be able to fight off against this darkness? And I think it's interesting because a lot of times Batman is the one put in this position. But I think it's interesting seeing Superman in this position along with him. They're kind of making these choices together. Usually it's Batman and Superman arguing about how Batman's methods are too far. In this one, they're actually both shoulder to shoulder with each other making these decisions. And then it's the rest of the Justice League who's going to have to deal with their decisions and question what they're doing. And so I think one of my biggest critiques of the Batman Who Laughs is that it ended on that cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say what it is, but it's picked up in this book.
Right.
So you read the Batman Who Laughs and were like, what is this cliffhanger all about? You have to read this book because it picks up an important character who, I don't want to say anything else. There's an important thing that happens to the character that gets picked up immediately in this book. And if you want to follow that thread, you have to follow it here. Yeah. I am starting to get a little bit burned down on the Batman Who Laughs. I think it is. I did enjoy this book. It was a lot of fun. I just don't know how much longer I want the Batman Who Laughs to be like a major villain in the DC universe. At least give him a break for a little bit.
Boy, I don't know. It feels like they're teeing it up for this to be a really big deal, like across.
And I know they're going to be doing Death Metal soon, so I'm guessing he's going to come back for that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not saying I dislike him as a character at all. I'm just worried they're going to keep using him too much and be like the Joker.
Like the Joker, yeah.
Pounded over and over and over again, where it gets to be not as exciting and not as enjoyable and not as disturbing as it used to be.
If you look at it, it's only the Batman Who Laughs book and this book that have him, right?
And Metal.
Well, and Metal.
And he was in Justice League, that hardcover as well, a little bit.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'm not saying he's a bad character. I just like him. I'm just worried that they're going to use him way too much, and I'm going to be fatigued with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm hoping that he won't be an arc after arc after arc. And the end of this book actually tees off a different story with different villains.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting. So I did enjoy this book. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as you did, but I definitely think it's worth the pick up. Or at least read it on Hoopla, but I think it's definitely worth the buy.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I'm not sure when I'll buy it. I'll probably buy it whenever the second volume comes out and just buy them both together. Whenever that happens. But I would say it's essential reading if you're following this Metal storyline.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%.
I'm sure in a year or two from now, whenever all the Death Metal books are out, we'll do a big review of that as well.
Right.
So it looks like this is a very essential book for what DC is doing in the main meta-narrative of their continuity. Which I'm surprised like so much big stuff's happening in this smaller book.
Yeah.
It's not Batman. It's not detective. It's not Superman or action. It's more of a side book, but a lot of important stuff are happening here.
Right. And besides liking the art, I really, Joshua Williamson wrote this.
Yes.
I really like his writing in this. I really found what he did with Superman and with Batman to be, especially Superman. I felt like he did a really good job with Superman, exploring different facets of Superman differently than I've done before. And I realize the character's 80 years old or more at this point, so 82 years old. So, but it shows me that there's still ways to creatively write these characters if you're willing to push the boundaries a little bit and make them a little more interesting. It shows me you can still make these characters interesting, even though they're this old and have these strict parameters that have been structured around them to keep them, from killing and all these other rules that they have on them.
Yeah, I think it can be very difficult to tell a new, fresh, and original story in the main DC universe.
Right.
Like stories like Black Label help you to kind of get out of the boundaries a little bit and color outside the lines.
Yeah.
Things that haven't been done before. So it is impressive when you're able to kind of do something a little bit original in the main DC continuity.
Right. And I felt that this was that.
And I've never read a book by Joshua Williamson I didn't like. I really like Nailbiter. I liked his Flash run, even though I'm very disappointed that they're not continuing with those deluxe hardcovers. A part of me is I'm resisting buying the trades or the standard hardcovers, but I'm sure I'll crack eventually because I want to finish out that run.
Yeah.
Even though it looks like he's going strong in that title still for a while.
Yeah.
So, but eventually I'll collect all of those. There's just too many books to buy, as we all know.
Yeah.
Way too many books to read and buy. So I do think this one's worth reading, especially if you're following the DC Metal storyline.
Right. Totally agree.
All right, Jess, what do you want to talk about next?
How about Batman Detective Comics Volume 3?
All right.
Peter J. Tomasi, your personal hero.
Yeah, so if you've been watching Baturdays in the BatCave long enough, you've probably seen our Batman Detective Comics Mythology review, which I just continually gush over all the time. And I really do think it's a book that's very underrated and more people need to read. It was my favorite Batman book of last year. And I haven't read a Batman book that's been able to beat it yet so far. Maybe I will sometime this year. But it's no secret that Jess and I didn't think the second volume was bad by any means. It just wasn't as good as the first volume. I think Tomasi just set the bar so high with that first volume. And the Arkham Knight, that storyline was good. It was okay, but it wasn't to the heights of that original storyline. And so we both wanted to try volume 3 to see if we wanted to continue with this series or not. So let's talk about it. I'll read the back.
Okay.
Some of the art. Batman is Gotham City's guardian, its protector, its dark knight, but he's far from the only extraordinary being to stalk its teeming streets. Good, evil, or somewhere in between, Gotham has visitors, and they each want something from the world's greatest detective. He may be the wrath of God incarnate, but Detective Jim Corrigan, a.k.a. the Spectre, needs Batman's help to catch a killer. He's one of the Suicide Squad's top operatives, but now Floyd Lawton, the assassin known as Deadshot, is on his own, and his targets just might align with the Dark Knights. He's traveling the DC universe, bestowing great gifts on its worst villains, and now Lex Luthor has come to Gotham to make a deal with the ice-cold Mr. Freeze. And now that he's quit his membership in the Legion of Doom, the clown prince of crime himself, the Joker, has plans to turn an amusement park into a theater of pain. Unlikely allies, bitter enemies, it's time for Batman to welcome them all to his city. So as you can tell by the summary on the back, this isn't just a continuous arc. It's essentially 3 shorter stories. The first story that involves the Spectre is 2 issues. The Joker issue is 1 issue. And the final story, I believe, is 3 issues. Is there one that I'm missing? I can't remember.
No, I think that's it.
And so you're not getting a continuous storyline here, but you're essentially getting small one-off stories. And one thing that I really appreciate about this volume is that Tomasi really shows off Batman as a detective, which doesn't really happen a lot, especially in the first storyline with the Spectre. I think sometimes people kind of just mistake Batman for just a big blockbuster action hero who just fights all the time. He's also one of the smartest men in the DC universe. So I appreciate that Tomasi continually shows that off in his run. So Jess, overall, what did you think of this book?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
Just to sort of sum it up, I don't think I'm going to be continuing with this run. I am a huge Spectre fan, and I didn't find the Spectre story very interesting. I found the Joker story less interesting, although the art was good by Doug Mahnke. And I don't know that Deadshot was used that effectively in this next one, and the Mr. Freeze story was sort of worked in around the Deadshot story.
Well, it's not really a story. It's more they're kind of teasing the next big arc. The next big arc involves Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
They're kind of just teasing it. It's not really like its own storyline, I would say.
Yeah. And I just didn't feel, maybe it's because they're all short stories and we didn't get a chance to get a feel for the characters and what their, maybe motivations were and what they were like. I have to say the Deadshot's not a character that I'm that big a fan of anyway. He's never been that interesting of a villain, but I don't think he's written particularly well here, and I'm not that interested in the Joker story. I didn't find any of the stories interesting or compelling enough, whereas Volume 1 was an A, Volume 2 was a B-. This thing was strictly average for me, and I'm really sorry. I mean, of course, he wrote Batman and Robin, which is like one of the best omnis you can get, and he'll always have that to his credit as far as being a Batman writer. But just for me personally, this Tomasi written book didn't particularly stick the landing, and I didn't find it very interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I loved it or thought it was great. I thought it was good, and I think I liked it better than you did. I especially liked the final story. I thought it was interesting. I thought the story of him crash landing on an island with these 2 World War II veterans who didn't know the war was over.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. I've never seen that before. Essentially, Floyd Lawton is hired to kidnap all these people on a Bruce Wayne jetliner, where Bruce is also on there as well, and he actually crashes the plane. They land on this island where this American soldier and these Japanese soldier have kind of taught each other their own languages and become best friends, and they help Batman take on Floyd Lawton. So I did like that story. I thought the Joker story was well done, even though it didn't tread any new territory. It wasn't like brand new story, but I thought it was well done. It was interesting. I think the first story is probably my least favorite in terms of the Spectre. I thought the art was okay. I thought the story was okay. I'm not really a big Spectre fan. I haven't really read much of him, so I wasn't like super into it. I am going to continue with this run because I think it still is good enough for me, and I'm really interested in the Mr. Freeze story. And I'm going to give Tomasi another chance with the next volume.
That's fair.
And if I like the next volume, I'll tell you. Maybe you can get it.
Okay. I may read. What I'll do is I will read it on Hoopla.
Okay.
I'll do that, and we can see if it gets any better, because I know he has better stories in him, just because I've read enough of him to know what a good writer he is.
Well, the good thing for you is that you can get rid of volumes because they don't have them on the spine. They have it on the back, what volume it is. So at least it won't look weird on your shelf if you don't have all of them together.
Right.
That at least makes it a little bit easier, even though it's still a weird decision from DC. At least it'll help you if you don't want to read those books, if you want to get rid of them.
That's an omni in itself. Weird decisions by DC.
Well, you guys kind of did that on not Baturdays, on Omni Bros on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, but we included Marvel in that. Missed opportunities.
Yeah, DC could take up its whole. It could be its own like show, its own series.
Yeah.
How DC messed up. So I personally am going to continue with the series because I think I'm still enjoying it enough, even though it's nowhere near the heights of the first book. He just really set the standards too high with the first book. I guess I was expecting so much. I feel like I enjoyed this volume more than the second one, to be honest. Because the second one, I feel like there were some logical missteps that didn't really make sense for me. And this one, there was none of those mistakes, even though it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is the best book I've read all year.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was good enough for me, and I'm going to give them another chance with Volume 4 because the Mr. Freeze storyline does look interesting to me.
Okay.
But I do want to say everyone definitely needs to get Mythology if you haven't gotten it already. I'm going to plug that again. You definitely need it.
Still beating that drum for Mythology.
I wouldn't say you need volumes 2 or 3, but you definitely need volume 1.
I agree with that. Mythology was great.
Okay. So we're going to our last book of the day, and that's Superman Up in the Sky by Tom King, which originally came out in the Walmart 100-page specials. And this is kind of the other book to Batman universe. So essentially, right. Dan DiDio, back when he was one of the publishers, said, since Bendis is writing Superman and Tom King's writing Batman, let's switch them off for each character for the Walmart special. So Tom, you get Superman, and Brian, you get Batman. And this is what Tom King had to offer. So I'll read the back while Jess shows off some of the art. Superman takes flight in this new exciting adventure. A young girl named Alice is kidnapped by aliens, and Superman is determined to find her somewhere up in the sky. The Man of Steel goes to incredible lengths in search of Alice, taking on plenty of challenges along the way, including boxing against Mido, preventing a space missile attack, and fighting alongside Sergeant Rock during World War II. While he was away, he worries about the people of Metropolis, as well as the love of his life, Lois Lane. While on the quest to save Alice, Superman can't help but grapple with an important philosophical question. Is he doing the right thing by saving one person instead of focusing on saving thousands? Okay, so this book came with a lot of high expectations for me. I don't know about you, Jess. I just kept hearing people gushing over this book and saying it was one of the best Superman stories they've ever read. So I went into the story with high expectations. Would you say the same, or did you?
I didn't hear any of that. I went in with no expectations.
Because I heard a lot of people saying it was one of their favorite Superman books of all time.
Oh, okay.
So I went into this saying, okay, I'm expecting this to be like one of my top 5 favorite Superman books. And even though I enjoyed it, I don't think it reached the heights of my other favorite Superman books. Even though I did like it a lot. What did you think about it, Jess?
I liked it a whole heck of a lot. I thought it was very inventive. I loved the art in it. I loved that Andy Kubert got to draw a character his dad was famous for in Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, people were saying they weren't a huge fan of the Andy Kubert art. They thought it was a little bit disproportionate and strange. I liked it a lot.
I guess I can see that, but I understand. But I thought
so. I'm willing to accept that. Some artists are a little bit more realistic, and some are a little more cartoony, and they kind of play with the form a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of times people complain about body proportions in comic books. It's like, it is a comic book. It doesn't have to be hyper real. It can be cartoony. It can be a little bit off. So I didn't mind that part of it at all. I thought it was really good art.
I can see what they're saying, and so it didn't bother me. But I thought that it was very out of the box thinking, and which I really appreciated. I think that Tom King took Superman to a lot of new places, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. He really expanded. He really expanded sort of the experiences that Superman can experience. I love that he had to go to a call center at the center of the universe
and wait a very long time to call Lois Lane.
Yeah, to see if everything was okay at home. I thought that was great, and I don't know what the answer to the question is. Is it right to take a chance on thousands of lives to try and save one?
Not even thousands. It's actually billions.
Yeah, billions. Right.
Destroyed because he left.
He left Earth and without its protection went off to find this one girl, and it's addressed in the book why it was this particular girl and for what purpose she was taken. And I liked the motive of why she was taken. I thought that was interesting. And he went through so many changes and went through so many different places and had so many different things thrust upon him, so many different challenges that were very interesting and really tested his mettle and whether or not he was dedicated enough to find this girl. I mean, he even got tossed back into the past by some wormhole or whatever it was. to fight alongside Sergeant Rock in World War II. And I just think Tom King did a great job with it. I'll say it's my top 10 Superman stories. It's not my top.
I'm not willing to say it's one of my. I don't think it's as good as Secret Origin by Jeff Johns or Secret Identity by Busiek or even American Alien. I still think those books are my top 3.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think All-Star Superman's still better.
Birthright.
I think those 5 are still better than this book. So I really enjoy this book. It's a definite buy for me. I just don't think I think it was overhyped for me a little bit too much.
Yeah, I didn't hear.
I love everything Tom King does. I know he's a really controversial writer. I've also never read Heroes in Crisis. So I think that's the one that a lot of people agree is his worst book. But everything I've read is really great. And so I think it's not one of my favorite Tom King books, even though I still think it's excellent. I still like Mr. Miracle, The Vision, Batman, Sheriff of Babylon, Omega Men better. Even though I greatly enjoyed this volume, I think one of the hard things for me as I was reading it, because you read Batman Universe by Bendis, even though it's told in 12-page chunks, it's like one continuous story that flows really well. This book is very disjointed.
Yeah.
Every 12 pages, it's totally different story. It totally changes where, and a lot of times it takes like 3 minutes to orient yourself to where you are. Just to figure out what's even going on. So that bumpy, jarring transition between each issue was a little bit frustrating. I think this book would have almost read better in single issues. Because it's kind of a choppy read just to read all the way through it.
Yeah, because he goes on basically like 10 separate adventures through the whole thing.
Right, because each 12-page story kind of starts with him in a really difficult position and you figuring out how he got there.
Yeah.
So it kind of that's how every 12 pages kind of happens. So it kind of forms this rhythm that you kind of get used to this storyline that kind of throws you back in the deep end. I'm not saying that's bad. I understand because of the format this book was published in. I just think that Batman Universe read better, flowed a lot easier. So I think Bendis maybe considered that a little bit more as he wrote it, thinking about the trade, thinking about the hardcover a little bit. Whereas I think Tom King really did play with the format of having 12-page stories. I just think it didn't really read as well in collected edition as it could have.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I just noticed is this is not 9-panel grids at all.
Right.
Here's like a 9-panel grid. It's like the only one in the book.
I think Tom King really does 9-panel grids a lot with Mitch Gerads.
Ah, okay.
He'll do 9-panel grids with other writers as well, but I think Mitch Gerads is the one he really does 9-panel grids with, especially Mr. Miracle, which is almost exclusively in 9-panel grids.
Yeah. Well, I like this book more than you did. It hadn't gotten hyped. I hadn't heard any of the hype. Maybe because I don't tune in to any kind of media about anything.
The group was talking about it a lot.
Oh, really?
Facebook group. Even Maria said this is one of her favorite books. So you guys actually like the same book.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. Anyway, I liked it more than you did. I really loved it, and I've already said why. So I think this is a solid buy, and I'm looking forward to rereading it. I dug it a lot, and I think it's a must buy for any fan of Superman.
I agree that I'm definitely going to keep this and reread it a lot throughout the years. I just think if I had gone into it with no expectations, I would have enjoyed it even more.
Yeah.
I have expectations.
I can see that.
People are comparing it to Secret Identity and Birthright and Secret Origins. So like, wow, this is going to break the top 5 barrier for me, it looks like. It just didn't. And nothing's wrong with it being a great story. It's okay. It's not the best. It's still worthwhile of buying and reading and having it on my shelf. So I don't want to hear I don't want anyone hearing me saying I don't like it. I really do like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's my favorite out of all of the ones we reviewed today.
Sorry?
I think it's actually my favorite of all the ones we reviewed today.
Okay. Good.
So I did like it better than the Secret Six, even though I did enjoy that. I think it's had a little bit more depth to it for me.
Okay, good. Well,
sorry.
To me, we had 2 big winners and one kind of not loser, but one not winner. I don't want to call it a loser because it was still a good. It appealed to you, so it's not a loser. But I mean, we had 2 big winners, and then we had one that didn't appeal to me that much.
And I'll admit that Greetings from Gotham isn't like one of the best books I'm going to read of the year. I just thought it was good.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing. I just think that there's better things coming in Tomasi's run. I was hoping he can get back to that greatness from
Yeah.
Volume 1.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
good.
my top pick is Superman Up in the Sky, and Jess's top pick is Batman, Superman, Who Are the Secret Six?
Yeah, and I can't just pick it up because it's on my iPad. So just a sec. Let's see if I can. I have to get back to the beginning of it.
But Jess will be buying it someday. So one day.
Whatever. Here it is. I'm buying it.
Another stimulus debit card purchase, Jess.
Sure. Yeah, IST is stimulating as well as every other store. So
right.
So okay, well, good. Thank you for joining me, Taylor. This has been Baturdays in the BatCave on OmniDog's Vault. Please feel free to subscribe, leave a comment. Please hit the like button, and we appreciate the fact that you watched and that you are a viewer. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And thank you, Taylor, for joining the broadcast. Peace and love. Peace and love.
See you guys.